Welcome back to Andy's Vintage Garage. Today episode we're gonna talk about the process of restoration of BMW R75. So the history of R75 was, those bike was built for the military during the World War II. That was actually two competitive companies back in Germany during the war, Zundap and BMW. When the World War II starts, military, the army, ordered those two factories to build them strictly military use motorcycles. So we have one here, this is the R75 with the sidecar. Those bikes was equipped with the differential which can be locked in, and the sidecar wheel was ignited, so actually it was almost like a car. Those bikes was able to have a hinge between the bikes so they can pull ammunition boxes, they can pull small cannon. During the war, there was two colors, actually three of R75s. That was this 10 color, what we have here, which was used in a western part of the war, Africa, Italy, Greece. Then the Feldgrau, which is a very dark, almost like a tank color, was used in a Eastern Front, and Air Force used a bluish color, which they use in the Air Force bases. To some of those bikes was actually used to haul Messerschmitts and different type of aircrafts on the airfields. So the use of these bikes was just for the military. They've been never meant to use by civilians. Obviously, after World War II, there was so many bikes on the market, and government started selling those bikes to civilians, and then they started to be converted to civilian use, because after World War II, people didn't want to see military bikes on the streets. Obviously, that brings bad memories. From the historical point, it's a great piece of equipment, and I'm very happy to bring this one back to life from wherever it was done, like it was converted to a civilian motorcycle, but we're gonna work on this project to build this bike again as a fully military bike to just prevent the history to go away. The way I came on a position of this bike about 7-8 years ago in Colorado, when I was planning my hiking trip around the Pikes Peak. I always search the areas for possible bikes for sale. I go on a Craigslist, famous Craigslist, and I found that bike sitting in Colorado Springs, and it was a Solo R75, which was without the sidecar. The bike was painted in red. Actually, we have still some original pieces. The bike was registered back in the days in Madrid. So it's an interesting story, because that bike supposedly was captured by US military in France, and French government gave about 250 of R75s back to Spain, and those bikes was used in the police department, and also civilians was buying those bikes and converting them from military use to civilian use. So when the bike was sent to Spain and repainted to a civilian use, after World War II, there was an engineer who went to Spain to help build some bridge around Madrid. I have no idea actually which bridge it was, but that gentleman, he purchased that bike in Spain, and the bike was shipped to Colorado. And from what I know, the bike was in Colorado for the entire time, and I don't have that proof, but supposedly that bike was in the police department in Spain. So this bike was repainted, the fenders was changed, so the military fenders was taken off of the bike. We still have the original Madrid registrations. They modified the bike. They put this newer light, so it doesn't look like a military vehicle. And also, sadly, the fuel tank has been rechanged, because like we know, in R75s, we have the fuel tanks, which they have air filter on the top of the tank. That thing was taken off, somebody welded that area, and the whole fuel tank was basically painted red. But I have a friend of mine who weld the original piece to put the air filter on the top of the tank. We weld the new channel here to have this functional like it was in the original bikes. And a good thing is when we actually sandblast that fuel tank, it came up, there is a BMW stamp emblem here. Most of the tanks have the screw-on emblem, which makes this fuel tank unique because that was the stamped emblem of BMW here. Those smaller stamps was only very short production. I don't think there is a data or anybody knows when they decide to stop that, because then they actually move this to a bigger stamp fuel tanks. According to those books we have here, they've been saying those are really limited production, and then we have most of the R75s have the screw-on BMW emblem. So this bike is probably between 1942 to 1943, maybe 1944. According to number stamps, it may be 1943, and also the fuel tank with this stamped BMW logo indicates that that was a very short production, like I said before. Prior to that and after, the BMW emblem was screw on, so it's probably 1943. The frame on R75, it's many pieces. Some people call this like a Lego toy, because the frame, this is the main part of the frame, and we have to add on all the pieces which holds the engine and actually build the bike. We have the stamp number right here, an original number from BMW right here, and we have some original sand color here from back in the days. But when I discovered the bike, the original paint was gone, so I decided to sandblast many of the parts. Many of the parts are not done yet, so that was re-chrome. Here we have part of the front end covers, and we still have some military original paint down behind the ears holding the headlight. So I'm gonna work on them. We're gonna put them to the sandblasting, or maybe I'm just gonna remove myself the chrome and it's gonna be repainted to original color. The color I'm gonna use, it's gonna be most likely which called the Feldgrau, which is a tank division's color. It's a dark gray color which was used by military during the war. I'm gonna build this bike with the front end cover. We call this fully cover, so instead of those rubbers we have, it's gonna be a cover front end. So the engine in R75, that's a 750cc overhead engine, very advanced technology for that time. The engine is combined with the transmission that has hydraulic brakes, the BMW logo on the front of the bike. We have the original stamp number right here, and the engine is good to go. Thank you very much to my friend Ziggy, who restored this power plant for me. The engine is ready to go. I didn't work on the engine this time. I rely on a friend who's restoring motorcycles almost on a daily basis. So the engine is done. So I'm gonna build this a lot faster because I'm not gonna need to deal with engine and a differential this time. The engine has a great compression. It was rebuilt really tight and sounds really nice already. So that's gonna be a beautiful project to do. And this level is to ignite the sidecar wheel. This is a differential. Differential is already restored, so it's ready to go. Beautiful job. This is a reproduction exhaust which we're gonna use on the bike. Exhaust is going up on the side of the bike because the bike can go in the water up to almost the seat level of the rider, and that's how they build those bikes. This is the front end. We're gonna make sure all is straight. Maybe redone some bushings over here, put the new springs, make sure the whole bike is done correctly. So it's gonna be actually, I wanna build this bike maybe not as a daily rider, but the bike I can ride and go to the shows. This is a piece which holds the engine to a frame, goes right here and goes to the main frame. I just discovered this thing is broke in half, so it looks like those ears has to be re-welded, but that's no problem, that's not a big deal. This is the footrest, goes right here on the rear differential. Pretty original piece with a BMW number right here, which they usually have those numbers here. The wheels for R75, we all know those are very heavy, those been already sandblasted. I'm gonna take the hubs off, we're gonna put the new bearings, we're gonna make sure the wheels are in a good conditions. And like this wheel, it was heavy used because the tooth on the inside, they almost gone. So this wheel can be used as a front wheel or accessorial wheel on a sidecar, because I don't think there is a way we can use it as a main wheel. But I have probably a couple sets of R75 wheels, so we're gonna find the correct wheel. We have another one. Oh, this is like brand new. Oh, nice. I didn't even see that. So all the bearings gonna be changed. We're gonna take off the hubs, put the new bearings, make sure everything is nice and tight. And wow, this is like a nice and tight wheel. Maybe we don't need to even check the bearings. I'm gonna build that bike like it is without even sandblasting or changing things, because I wanna know everything gonna be in line. Many bikes have tilted frames, like this is a part, the bottom part of the frame. I have to assemble the whole bike before we even gonna paint that, to make sure everything is straight, everything gonna be in line. We're gonna put the fenders, we're gonna put the front end on the bike. Maybe we're gonna go to a point when I'm gonna start the bike and ride the bike for a bit, and then reassemble again, and then we're gonna sandblast and repaint many of the parts. So this is a kind of a long hours of work, maybe a couple hundred hours to make this bike back to life, to restore that. This is another front end part which needs to be redone. We're gonna make sure everything is straight. Handlebar, yeah, that's a nice original handlebar. It was chrome, it's gonna be repainted, but it is pretty nice straight. Well, not really, but we're gonna make sure it is straight. Yeah, we have a set of the fenders we're gonna put on the bike. Those are reproduction fenders. This bike didn't came with original, like I said in the beginning of the video. Those are fenders which was used. This is the front fender, it needs to be realigned in the whole bike. We're gonna work on this. It's always good to have a bike which was already done or assembled around when we're doing the restoration. It's a lot easier because you can see wherever goes where. This is really unique bike. That's probably 1946 R75, but it's identical to what I'm gonna restore. We have an example of a fuel tank, which was actually the fuel tank have this screw-on BMW logo, and the air filter is on the top. So, and this how this assembly looks like. And the interesting fact about this, when you unscrew this part of the frame, the engine can be dropped on the ground, and they can actually exchange the engine during the war. That's how they did it. They didn't actually fix the engines in a combat or wherever they go in. And many of those engines was just simply taken from the frame with the transmission. They've been put in a box on the train. The plant which repairs those engines was in France, and then those engines was created and sent back for the military to wherever they operate. So there's gonna be interesting process what we're doing here. So please join us on our channel to see the process of this restoration. Please like, share and subscribe our channel, and see us in the next episodes.